All right, students. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to the Star Tutors live streams. We'll get started here in just a second, but for right now, guys, as you guys log in, can everybody give me a thumbs up or a hello? Today, we're going to be helping you guys get through the Proctor practice test. Depending on how many students we have on, we might just we might do our warm up a little bit quicker than we typically do. But again, guys, if you get into the chat today, can you just give me a thumbs up and let me know that you're here? And then we will get started momentarily. Everybody that's taking a practice test, right? We're gonna stay on like we typically do. We are going to get you guys started with the test, and then we're gonna stay on for probably about 30 to 45 minutes after, just to make sure that you guys are started and everything looks good. Once you guys get started with the proctoring video, it's pretty straightforward, so you don't think you're gonna need to have too many questions. So we'll stay on and answer general questions for those that are not taking a practice test, but are instead getting have general questions about the SAT or the ACT. So again, guys, though, once you get into class or once you see this live stream, can everybody give me a thumbs up or a hello in the chat? If you're planning on taking the practice test today, can you guys confirm that you have the test form and bubble sheet that you're taking for today, that you have that printed and you're ready to go? Hey guys, again, as you jump in here, can everybody confirm that you guys can hear me, that you're live, that you know what's going on here? And once we get started, can you confirm that you also have your practice test in front of you, that you guys are getting ready to go? And then for the 30 or 45 minutes after we get warmed up and get those that are taking the practice test today, once we get you guys started, it will stay on for another 35 or 40 minutes or so, and just confirm that we'll just answer questions and also be here in case any of the students that are taking the practice test, in case any of you guys have general questions about that test, we'll stay on to answer those as well. But we'll also be doing a kind of a general AMA for 30 or 45 minutes after while we wait to see if everybody starts the test okay. So again, how about this? Even if you guys aren't taking the practice test today, but you're just here to ask questions, can you guys give me one thumbs up? One thumbs up. Thumbs up either below the channel, below the video, or thumbs up in the chat if you can see that. Okay. And anybody that feels comfortable, you guys can say, yeah. So if you guys want to take a practice test today, if you guys want to take a practice test today, you guys can click the links. There are links below this video, and you'll see the links for all of the officially released ACT or SAT practice tests. You guys can take any of them. Okay, all of the test forms are posted below, so you guys can click. I think it's at the very bottom, so look out for those. And when you see that, you guys can click those and then download one of the practice test forms. It should say ACT and SAT officially released tests. Is that cool? All right, guys, so like we've talked about many times, for those that have been on this live stream before, this particular one with proctored practice test, the goal for today, for anybody that is taking a practice test, is to try to simulate the real testing environment as much as you possibly can. So one of the questions we frequently get asked is, why am I doing so much better on my practice test than I am on my real test? And a lot of times that comes down to how you're taking your practice tests. Okay, so like for today, for example, I'm going to post proctoring videos in the chat that's going to walk you through the entire ACT and SAT exam, so you don't have to think about anything. It's going to be just like the proctoring that you'd see on real test day. But the key is that you can't pause the video. We'll say that when I post these in just a second. You don't want to pause these videos for any reason. Okay, and the reason that that's important is because we frequently have students that will, that will wonder why they're not doing as well on the real test, but then we ask them and they'll get up in the middle of a practice test and go to the bathroom in the middle of a section. That you can't do that on the real test, guys. So as much as you possibly can, particularly if you've already taken a real test, because then you know, right? You know what to expect. If you've already taken a real test, it is absolutely imperative that you do everything in your power to simulate that real test as much as you can, like the practice test that you take at home. Okay, that's the number one. It's the number one kind of discrepancy between a practice test and a real test is almost always the environment. Okay, same thing with like if your brother or sister is screaming in the background at your mom or your dad, right? I knew what that was like. I had a younger sister. Okay, if that's the case, you can't let that distract you. You can't pause the video. Now, is somebody going to be screaming in the real test? No, right? Somebody would tell that person to stop talking really quickly. But at the same time, there are going to be distractions in the real test that you can't account for. So you may be able to quickly scream back and say, I'm taking a test, and tell your brother or sister to be quiet. But beyond that, you can't pause the video and run out in the hallway and then have a big argument and then come back to the test. Because that doesn't exist on the real thing, so we can't have that exist on the practice test. A big component to this whole thing, this whole exam, is being in that environment without being able to take a break for 3.5 straight hours. I mean, you get the 10-minute break, obviously, for the ACT in between right in the middle of the test, and you have the 2 breaks for the SAT, but those are relatively short, right? I mean, I'm talking about 3.5 hours that you are locked in. You do get breaks, and you can take advantage of those breaks, but for the most part, those aren't long enough to really decompress in any way. So in those situations, you need to do everything in your power to re-energize, right? Do everything in your power after the SAT reading section, which is really dense and really hard, to get your mind back thinking about the exam again, right? And getting ready to go for the writing and language test. So much of this exam, and this is why colleges still consider this test so important. Okay, so much of this exam is about sitting there and persevering through a very stressful and long timed environment. Can everybody give me a thumbs up if that makes sense? That's why ultimately, guys, colleges, and I've said this in previous live streams, but everybody always says, well, the SAT and ACT doesn't test, it's not a good representation to get into college. While that might be true on the content side, you could honestly argue what's on the test, like the content of the test, all day, and I really wouldn't have any argument against it. Somebody that's smarter than me at the College Board and the ACT thought that these concepts that you're being tested on are important, and colleges have said, yes, they are important. But ultimately, the content piece of this, the content portion of this, is far less important than that. What colleges are really looking for is to see how you stand up in a really long, stressful environment. That's what they're ultimately after. That's what they want to see. Because if you go to Harvard, you're going to be testing, you might have a math final. And for those that don't know how colleges in America, the way that they grade classes in college is it's all against your classmates. So if you go to Harvard, you're graded on the same bell curve scale, right? They might say that the average of the class is going to be a B-. So if you're above the average, then you get higher than a B- if you're below it. And if you're competing against Harvard, it's hard to get in the middle of the fit, right? It's middle of the pack at Harvard. And that's why it's so important. Guys, and again, I just want you guys to recognize that. And Anisha, I'll post the best. We're biased, of course, because we have our own prep books that I think are really, really, particularly for writing and language. And we also have it available for free on StarU. So I'll send that over here in just a second. But in any case, guys, I want everybody to recognize that the reason these tests are important to colleges really has nothing to do with the content. And for those that have seen our live streams before, you guys know that the writing and language section is a great example for the SAT or the English section for the ACT. The hardest grammar concept that is tested is punctuation. If they really wanted to test you on higher level grammar or higher level English concepts, then they could do that by just giving you the AP English exam. But they don't do that for a reason. So again, the content, that tells us right away that the content is far less important than it's important. Obviously, you got to know this stuff, but it's your ability to perform in that environment for 3 to 3.5 hours, and that's hard to do. And there's no breaks, and there's relatively short breaks, right? Given how long the test is. And that's where you really have to show that's where you really have to show through is how am I going to stay focused? For those that are taking the SAT, you guys know that every question is worth 10 points, right? Roughly speaking, every single question on the test is worth 10 points on the SAT. So that means that if you're at the end of the math with a calculator section and you're struggling and you're just like, I want to get out of here, get me away from this. That means that every time you give up on a question or you just like lose focus, you're losing 10 points. And it's really easy to see how you can both improve really quickly by just changing your mindset at the end of the test or at any moment where you feel overwhelmed, or how you can lose points really quickly, right? How you can gain or lose points really quickly on either side. Okay, so I want everybody to be well aware of that. So Anisha, we have our own books, our own SAT books, so obviously I'm a little biased towards those, but I want everybody to know that all of our tutorials, guys, and we just came out with a PSAT National Merit tutorial, all of our tutorials are written by our current tutors and teachers. So I encourage you guys to check out this link. And I just feel like our tutorials, because we actually teach this every single day, I edit it, we have a primary writer who's been an SAT, ACT tutor for 20 years. Right? Because we have that, we really feel like these concepts are very, very closely related. But more importantly, what Khan Academy doesn't give you, and why I think this is important, is that it's not very strategy based, which is a really big disservice to everybody that they're putting that content out, because it doesn't have a ton of strategy talk, and that's what I think we do really well, and I think that these tutorials help. So if you guys are interested in the tutorials, Star Tutors tutorials. Okay, you guys can click this link. But more importantly, we have put all of our tutorials onto our StarU tutoring app, which I'll bring up here in just a second. StarU tutoring platform available. And it's all free. Okay, it's all free. And then it's also available on desktop. So you guys, and again, it's free to download, and it takes 2 seconds to create a student account. So I encourage you guys to do that if you have time. And all of the tutorials, you guys will see this in the background of my screen here in just a second. All of the tutorials that I just mentioned are available for free on the app, on StarU. So if you download it, or if you haven't already, all of our tutorials are available. And there's a slight, if you want to get into, if you're already testing very highly, then it's $5 to get the like better, the advanced content. But I highly encourage anybody that's interested in it, because it talks a lot about strategy. And again, the 90% of the content, all of the basic SAT and ACT content is available for free. So you guys can see this in the background of my screen. Right here, you click lesson and practice problems. Okay, you guys can see this here. That's okay, I'll just self-study. If you want to go to the SAT, Anisha, right, you click that, click SAT, then SAT writing and language. And here, right, this is all free. If you want to go to the advanced, you can pay $5. But all of the basic stuff is free. So all of that is written by current SAT and ACT tutors, including myself. And I highly encourage you guys to check that out if you haven't downloaded an account already. Okay? So again, that's StarU. Okay, so anybody have any other questions? How are you guys feeling? Can everybody give me 2 thumbs up in the chat? If you are taking a practice test with us today, I'm going to get you all started by posting. And again, once you guys see these videos, I'm going to post these proctoring videos. You're going to click the link, and you're going to put me. We're going to be on this live stream for the next 30 to 45 minutes to just answer any general questions. But in case anybody who's taking the practice test has any questions about the test, we're gonna be here just so you guys can. And once you get going, I think you're gonna be fine. But the key is just like we talked about before. Once you click on this video, I want you to follow the instructions to a T. These are the exact proctoring instructions that you'll see on the real test. And if you follow them exactly and you use this every single time, you'll find that your real test feels very similar to the practice test. And that's that's huge. That's such an important aspect to this. Okay? Such an important aspect to this. So again, I encourage you guys to do those 2 things. Can everybody give me a thumbs up one more time, guys, if you guys have any other questions? So if anybody's taking the ACT today, again, once you see this link that I'm about to post, this is going to be for the standard timing of the ACT. Standard timing of the ACT. Once you see this link, I want you to click the link and then mute this live stream, but don't go away. Put this up in the corner somewhere, right? Whatever you need to do, put it up in the corner. but leave it open at least for the next 30 to 45 minutes so that if you do have a question and you're taking the test, you can ask that quickly without having to go find this live stream again. Okay, so if you're taking the ACT practice test today, standard timing. Okay, so this is going to be the standard timing video. Again, if you're taking the practice test, once you click the link, please don't pause the video unless prompted. There will be breaks, but all the timers for each section will appear on the screen. Once you start the video, go all the way through and listen to the instructions as closely as you can, because that's exactly what the real test is going to look like. Okay, so if you're taking the ACT, good luck, guys. Here's the standard timing video for the ACT exam. Let me get the extended timing if you guys have accommodations for the ACT. Okay, accommodations timing. Okay, guys, if you want to take the ACT with accommodations, if you have extended timing, there's the video for that. And then we'll get you guys started with the SAT. Okay, coming your way is the SAT proctoring video. This is going to be the standard timing if you guys are interested. Same thing with the SAT test takers. Once you guys start these proctoring videos, I don't want you to stop them for any reason. Okay, I don't want you to stop them for any reason unless prompted by the video. So if you're interested in taking the SAT with standard timing, there's your video. And finally, guys, if you do have extended timing on the SAT, you have extended timing. All right, guys, so that's it. If you guys are interested in taking a practice test, go ahead and start those proctoring videos. And from there, the instruction should be very straightforward. And otherwise, guys, I'm going to stay on, like I said, from there. There's probably 30 or 45 minutes here to answer any general questions. If you guys have them in the chat, I'll be answering those. And then if you have any, if anybody that's taking the practice test, if any of you guys have questions that you need answered while you're taking the test, again, we'll be on for the next 30 or 45 minutes. But the proctoring videos have timers on the screen. I think it should be pretty straightforward. Okay? It should be pretty straightforward. All right, guys. So, again, anybody taking the test, good luck. Anybody taking the test, good luck. And, yeah, and we'll be on for the next 30 or 45 minutes. Anisha, absolutely happy to help. And then let us know, let us know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to mute. I'm going to mute this video, but I'll be here to answer any questions for the next 30 or 45 minutes. Okay? Okay, students, so it looks like there's no further questions related to the practice test for those that are taking the practice test. So we're going to sign off here. We have a number of live streams coming up in the near future, including an AP U.S. History review. We have another proctored practice test in 2 weeks. We have a comprehensive review for the early June SAT, as well as a comprehensive review for the early June ACT. And we hope to see you guys all a part of that. If you have any questions for us, as always, that you didn't see, that you just didn't get the chance to participate in the live stream today, but you have questions after watching, don't hesitate to comment below these videos. One of our teachers or tutors will always be happy to respond to those comments. And otherwise, guys, good luck. Make sure, going back to what we started with, if you're taking a practice test, try to simulate that practice test as closely to the real thing as possible. That is the key. The key to this, right, if you take a practice test over and over and over again and you see yourself doing well and those practice tests are simulated in the real environment, you're sitting there all the way through, you're only taking breaks when it's actually, okay to do so. And that's where those proctoring videos can be really helpful because it leads you through the whole test. If you're doing those things, then the real test is not going to be any different than when you sit down and take a practice test. Even taking it on Saturday morning, right? I highly recommend taking it on Saturday or Sunday morning. Because if you do that, then you're simulating, again, that feeling of having to wake up on the weekend, which is what you'll have to feel on real test day. So again, it's very, very important that you simulate those practice tests as closely as possible. Otherwise, it's very easy to see a 50 to 70 point drop from where you were practice testing because you're not quite used to that long endurance environment, and that's really where we have to be focused. All right, guys, but otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great weekend wherever you are in the world. If you, like I said, if you have any questions or comments that you didn't get asked because you couldn't participate in the live stream today, that's totally fine. Just comment below this video, and we will be happy to answer those questions for you. But I hope you guys have a great day, great weekend, and we will see you guys soon for the next live streams. Talk to you soon, guys.